Hi, hello, and welcome back to another Skyblock video. My name is ohSauce, and today we are going to be talking about the Berserker build in Hypixel Skyblock. Yes, I already know that I made a video on this, but so many things have changed, including the fact that I am now a Berserker myself, so I know a lot more about the topic. Instead of categorizing these Berserker builds by stage of the game, I am going to classify them by floor number. Also, I'm going to be assuming you have all of your fairy souls, because if you don't, dungeons is way too hard. First off, some things that apply to every floor. For some floors, the gear that you should have will stay the same, because the next gear up is only available in later floors, and because I'm not going to mention it every single time, an aspect of the end, grappling hook, the highest tier of power orb you can get, and the highest tier of zombie sword you can get is highly recommended. Also, unless you have enough money for a tiger pet, either rare, epic, or legendary, it getting better every single time is a must. If you already have a legendary wither skeleton pet, however, it might be worth keeping that instead and not buying a tiger if you don't want to waste money. As for your talismans, you want silky on common to rare talismans, or hurtful if you don't have money, forceful on epic, and strong on legendary. Mine are not fully reforged. Then check your attack speed. So your attack speed is just a normal stat. You can see that mine right now is 1, but be sure to include how much your sword has. So if I were to do tab, you can see that it's 100 because I'm holding the slivet dagger. My attack speed is 100 while I'm holding the dagger, which means that it should be 100 when I'm factoring in count what reforges I should get. If it's not 100, then you should get strange on your epic talismans and your uncommon talismans until you are at 100%. And like I said, be sure to factor in how much your armor and your sword give you so that you don't go like over 100%. As a Berserker, talismans are important. Just like in normal non-dungeon Skyblock, talismans increase your damage by a lot, and they should not be neglected. Secondly, the gear mentioned in this video is pretty much near minimum or average for doing that floor, so anything better than what I recommend for each floor and what you can get on each floor, it will still work. Finally, when I say use this gear on this floor, I'm assuming you haven't paid for a carry. When grinding floor 4, for example, you could totally be using Shadow Assassin armor because you paid for a floor carry for floor 5. So yes, you can have gear from further floors. Please do not get angry at me for saying that you should have adaptive armor on floor 4. Yes, you can totally have Shadow Assassin. Now on to the individual floors. On the entrance floor, you can survive as long as you have any good damaging armor set and sword. Examples of some armors I recommend are Strong Dragon Armor, Superior Dragon Armor, End Armor, but that's an absolute minimum. You're probably gonna die a lot in it. And if you're sure that you can't get hit, Elegant Tux works, but that's kind of overkill. Essentially, anything as good or better than strong armor works. Unstable armor, things like that, things that are a little bit worse also might work, but I would recommend strong armor. For swords, anything that does equal or more damage than an AOTD is good, so that would mean a Tactician Sword, an AOTD, a Warped AOTE, Midas, Reaper Falchion, all those things would work. And since you're on this floor, entrance is the entrance, which means you probably don't have any dungeons or dungeonized armor, and even if you did, you couldn't use it. Next floor, floor 1. On this floor, dungeons gear is still mainly beaten out by various late game non-dungeon sets, so unless you're new to the game, and you haven't been playing Skyblock for a while before starting out dungeons, you shouldn't really be using any dungeon sets. So pretty much the same stuff as entrance floor. On floor 2, depending on how long you grind floor 1 for, you may or may not be Catacombs 10. If you are, you might want to get an adaptive blade, which I'm pretty sure it's either a Catacombs 10 requirement or a floor 2 requirement. So you might want to get an adaptive blade, which beats out all but the most maxed out non-dungeon swords such as Gilded Midas while in dungeons. If you want to, playing for a floor 3 carry will allow you to use adaptive armor, which is a great first dungeonized set for Berserkers. A much cheaper and therefore worse alternative is a zombie soldier armor set, which requires Catacombs 9, and a Bonzo mask, which requires floor 1 completion. Having a zombie sword can really start to show on this floor, especially if your defense is not that high. Floor 3. On this floor, focus on getting full adaptive armor, as well as maybe upgrading some of your base utility items, such as a zombie sword to an ornate zombie sword, or a radiant power orb to a mana flux power orb. Other than that, the same gear as floor 2. Floor 4. The main difference here is that the Hyper Cleaver, which allows Berserkers to deal with large crowds of enemies, such as the Thorn boss fight. Getting this weapon is a must for lifesteal on floor 4 boss, specifically. And on this floor, you definitely should not be using non-dungeonized gear and items, so unless you have, like, fully maxed out superior armor and a Midas, there is no reason that you should be using non-dungeonized armor. It's cheaper and it's better in dungeons. Also, you might want to consider getting Spirit Boots, which will allow you to do the Thorn boss fight more easy, and you're faster, so you can run to things quicker and get that lifesteal. Floor 5. Now, floor 5 is a big one. It comes with a massive change to Berserker's gear, which is the Shadow Assassin armor and the Livid Dagger. Now, I actually have both of these. The Shadow Assassin armor is pretty much my first endgame investment, coming in at about 60 million coins. So it's pretty expensive, but if you take off the chest plate, it's more just 5 million coins or something like that. So if you replace the chest plate with, let's say, a Zombie Knight chest plate, then this set is a lot cheaper and it's still almost as good, but the full set bonus really, really can help you. If you're wondering in what order you should get these amazing items for Berserker, I would recommend getting the Livid Dagger first, because this thing is crazy. I'll probably be using this sword on floor 7 and maybe 8. You can look at the stats, you can pause it for a moment. And then there's also the Shadow Fury sword, which it does quite a bit of damage. Hey, you. Yes, you over there. If this video helped you in any way and you want to make me happy, I highly recommend subscribing and or liking the video. If you have any questions about the video or any comments, comment them down in the comment section. And if you want to talk to me, you can find me on my Discord. Link is in the description. That's all. Back to the video. Or not as much as it probably does more than Livid Dagger without accessories, but the 100% crit chance and crit and attack speed really help you there. And then its ability basically makes it so you can teleport everywhere straight in front of mobs and kill them. So it might be worth it to get both of them if you have a lot of money and just use both of them. And on this floor, you're definitely going to start to feel the effect of those boss fights, even with just the armor that you might have. Like this Shadow Assassin armor on floor 5, I still die kinda frequently. So I've started experimenting with reforging some of the pieces to reinforced instead, giving much more defense than they would otherwise. And hopefully that'll make it so I die less. And then finally, as of right now, floor 6 is the last floor. So on floor 6, defense is very important. Consider switching almost like even all of your armor to reinforced. Or if you have a lot of money, you can get yourself a baby yeti pet. Now these legendaries cost a lot, but the epics cost just as much. In fact, for some reason even more. That's kind of confusing. But you can see that Ice Shields is the ability that you're looking for here. You gain 1% of your strength as defense. And since Berserkers definitely get a lot of strength, like near the end of runs, I can have 1,500 strength. That means that's 150 defense, which is pretty much an entire another armor piece. Yeah, Baby Yeti helps a lot. And then secondly, there is another Berserker item on this floor that's good, and that is the Flower of Truth. And you can see that the Flower of Truth gives you strength, and as well as it gives you damage, so it's not a mage weapon as you might expect at first. Its ability is that it shoots a rose that ricochets between enemies, damaging up to 3 of your foes. So essentially what it does is it's ranged melee damage that bounces between 3 enemies, with only a 1-second cooldown, which means you can essentially spam this thing. Basically, it's aimbot. So all you have to do is just stand and then use your Flower of Truth a whole bunch. And then it'll just heat seek everywhere and kill everything. Yeah, it's a pretty great item. And yep, that's pretty much gonna be it for this video. If we get to 1,000 subscribers, I will be doing a Q&A and toaster reveal, which many people are excited for. If you'd like to ask questions about me for the Q&A, or just questions about Skyblock, you can find me on my Discord. Link is in the description. And if this video helped you in any way, please consider subscribing and or dropping a like. If there's anything that I missed out on, feel free to comment down below and I will add it to the description. And with that out of the way, I have nothing more to say. See ya!